So hi and very welcome to this Team Excellence webinar about how care and growth. Ska vi se om jag kan släppa in Thomas här också. How care and growth can be helpful in the team context as well. So I know that some of you have joined us before for leadership excellence and also perhaps personal excellence. So the core of the thing is the same, the intent to serve or give. And this hour then we're going to explore how this affects teams and how it can help lifting teams. We talk about team excellence. Sometimes we talk about high-performing teams in the agile context. And I think we have some keys here that can be really useful. We'll see what you say. So we have the hour, and I have prepared a material. I thought to suggest that I run through the material, and if you have any questions as we go, you write them in the chat, and Susanne will help me keep an eye on the chat as well, won't you, Susanne? I'm sure she will.
Yes, I will. And I finally found my mute button. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Yeah, and then afterwards we'll have questions and discussion. And I'm not in a hurry after 2 o'clock, so I can stay on if anyone wants to continue chatting. But make sure to finish the actual presentation at 2, because I'm sure there are people who have other meetings to go to and so forth. So very welcome here. A few words about Schuitema Human Excellence Group. Hi. At Schuitema, we've actually worked for over 30 years, not me personally then, but as a company, in 29 countries around the world. And now we have 3 offices. The main office in South Africa, one in Pakistan, and now since this year, then also one here in Sweden. I think there's someone who needs to mute.
Jag missade ett möte klockan 1, men jag har på det nu. Så att
ja, fast du måste muta.
Förlåt.
Not to worry. Right, and we've worked in many diverse organizations. So the ideas originally come from mining, but nowadays it's far from only mining. Right now I'm working with one bank and one IT company and a company of consultants. So diverse organizations, same sort of core that we can then apply. Schuitema in Sweden then. At the moment it's mainly me and Susanne. We have Stefan who are joining us from the side. You're very welcome in as well. And we are happy to start up here now. We have a Swedish homepage since a couple of months, and we've been working on this for about a year now. So we're the newbies in the company. Me then, Anna Rimhagen. I'm based in Linköping, and I'm then the primary contact person for Schuitema here in Europe. I've worked with team development, agile and lean coaching for well over a decade, and care and growth came into my life. Actually, that's the best way I can say it. Care and growth came into my life 2015, and it was quite a mind blower, actually. It sort of turns things upside down in a way which has been very good for me and very attractive way of seeing things. So I've written a book on the topic of agile and lean coaching regarding teams, and I have the other one almost done, you know, the almost down stage, about how agile and care and growth complement each other, which I think is like a perfect match. And I love cycling, and I have 2 grown-up daughters, and I go to South Africa as soon as I can, next time in January. Good. So the care and growth applications then. I mentioned that at the core, we have the intent to serve or give. And this we can then apply in different ways. And closest to the core is what we call then personal excellence. What is it that gives us security and fulfillment in life? it's so easy to go out there and look for it, to try to earn a lot of money and to try to be someone in the world. Actually, the security and fulfillment comes from inside. And all different applications of care and growth and this intent to give and serve sort of has its starting point with the individual. So even if we talk about teams, we're still looking at what the individual transaction, the individual contribution is. And that has been very interesting for me, having worked so much with groups. So the group is an entity, but there is actually something underneath that as well. So personal excellence, absolutely closest to the core. And then if we look at this like layers of an onion, we have team excellence. What is it that gives us then collaboration and harmony, helps team to succeed, which we'll look at today then. If we take the next sort of layer, we have the leadership excellence application. And here we talk about legitimate power. We will actually talk about that a little bit today, because one of the keys to successful teams is how they are led. And there we have the legitimate power, which is what we get when we use care and growth. And then we have the organizational perspective as well, talking about a value-adding organization, that an organization, an enterprise and business is there to add value. It's not there for its own sake, so to say. Good, so that's that. So let's look into some team excellence fundamentals. So like I just said, enterprises or organizations, businesses, they don't exist for themselves. Enterprises exist to serve customers and clients. And well, we'll have a look at why this is important. So if we look at this cone you can see here on the picture, it symbolizes this enterprise or organization with fewer people on the top, more people at the bottom. And if we then take a horizontal cut of that, we will get the team view of it. Before we take that cut, let's have a look at the story of the three bakers. So again, if you've been in the leadership excellence, you will recognize the three bakers. But we're going to shake hands with them again. And I know for some of you, it's the first time you see them. So these three bakers, they have a bakery together. So they're like a very small team. And they work on this cake, which is a large and complicated cake. It takes a whole month to bake it. And when they're done and they sell it, they take the equivalence of a slice home each to feed their families. And as we can see here, although all three bakers take one slice each with them home, there is one part left of the cake. And this part we can call the surplus. It could be called profit or it could be called something else, but this is an extra piece that is there. Why is that extra piece there? The surplus is the measure of the degree to which the average member of the group gave more than they took. So it has to do with this intent to give or serve. These bakers were there to serve. So now we take the horizontal cut in the cone and see what this then means for teams, peer groups. Teams succeed when members of the team set each other up to succeed. And we say there are three keys to this that we're going to look at now. The first one is that the group has a benevolent intent, and we're going to look at what that means. The second one is that the group is well led. If you remember, like I mentioned in the beginning, it does matter, the leadership. People don't work for organizations because they want to. They work for people because they want to. And this wanting to is a key here. And the third thing is that there's a culture of good citizenship in the group. So this good citizenship, that can, to some extent, have a national feel to it. Like, for example, here in Sweden, we're known to be good at collaborating. But it's more than that. It has to do with the culture you have in your company or enterprise. It has also to do with how you treat each other. So first, let's look at this benevolent intent, which I myself thought was a bit of a tricky term when I first got to hear about it. But it's not as tricky as it seems. Benevolent intent, it's really about the star that you're reaching for. Again, people don't feel engaged or walk the extra mile for shareholders to get rich or richer. So if, for example, we'd say that we work for a company that produces medicine, and our boss comes to us and say, please now put in all this overtime and work all over Christmas so that our shareholders can get a very good bonus this year. Might not make us work all that much harder, might even actually make us work less hard. But if, on the other hand, our boss came to us and said, please put in this extra overtime now, because all this medicine is really needed now with COVID, and we can save millions of lives with what we do. That is a benevolent intent. So a benevolent intent tells you why you are here. It gives you a higher purpose. So I quite often get the question, well, what's the difference to a vision? Isn't that a vision? You can have a vision that is a benevolent intent. That's great. But you can also have a vision that says, we're going to be the biggest consultancy firm in Sweden. So a benevolent intent actually has to make the world a better place somehow. And that is what will make people tick to want to walk that extra mile. So I have a few examples of benevolent intents here. Here we have one from African Explosives. So they actually produce like dynamite and ignites for that. And their benevolent intent is not to share, to make as much money as possible or to produce as much dynamite as possible. Their benevolent intent is to unlock the wealth of Africa. And the reasoning behind this is that if rock can be broken, that ground can then be used to, for example, build new houses and create new areas. We have another example from Telenor Pakistan, and their benevolent intent is making it possible. And the reasoning behind this, so it's a process to come to the benevolent intent, but if we sort of shortcut the process here, the reasoning behind making it possible is that connectivity is a huge challenge there. So it's very difficult to actually run a company or to have communication up. So with a working telecommunications network, we're making it possible, they say, to do all these different things. And then I took example from the Swedish tax authority. Together we make society possible. So by paying tax, we make society possible. And society does make the world a better place because it helps people who are out of jobs or are ill, etc., etc. So these are examples of benevolent intents, and it's very good. It's very important for a team to understand, why are we here? Why is it important? So if we look at the benevolent intent in a hierarchy, we said that the company must have a benevolent intent or needs to have a benevolent intent, the higher purpose for the whole company. But this can be huge companies. And the team down there, you see the team there doing their scrum. How can they then see their line of sight to this benevolent intent? Well, it needs to be broken down into the different business areas or departments or what we have in our structure. It needs to be broken down all the way to the team so that the team can see What is our role in this? How do we contribute to this benevolent intent? How do we make the world a better place? So when we then have that star, that benevolent intent for the team, it's very useful to further concretize this by phrasing mission statements. Mission statements say what it is that we do. I will show you an example soon. So to avoid it being fluffy, what is it that we do then to reach this benevolent intent? And deliverables is, like we normally talk about 3-month deliverables. What is it that we want to achieve within the next 3 months? What should be in place? And to complete this is to have team agreements showing how do we in our team work together. So let's look at an example. This example is from Team Giraffe, which is the coaching team I worked with at Ericsson. And we still meet a lot and exchange experiences. Great team, Team Giraffe. So this was the organization's benevolent intent. Actually, I picked it from Ericsson's homepage now. Empowering an intelligent, sustainable, and connected world. So we then broke that down to our team, the coaching network, the coaching team. Then our part of the organization is known for motivated teams and individuals. So what was it that we actually did? Our mission statements was, we seek knowledge and share practices. We challenge leaders to be transparent and trusting. And we coach teams in order to drive change bottom up. So in that way, in this way, it helped us both to see this line of sight to what the company wants to achieve. And also it helps us prioritize. It helped us prioritize when we were too busy. Well, how does this help with what we're trying to achieve? And for the team agreement, I have that on a separate slide. So you see the Giraffe team there. So our way of working together was that we prioritize learning as high as doing. And we trust each other to do a good job. We always share. Everyone is invited and welcome. And that everyone is invited and welcome came from that we had like a bigger network of coaches. So we started off as a big network, and then we became a team, sort of a core team, or what would you say? And we then said an active giraffe. That would be to be in the team, participates in our meetings, contributes to sharing and learning, and pulls work from our backlog. And the last one there, we take on tasks together. So this was our team agreement. And when you have a team agreement, it's easy to go back to that if something doesn't work. We say, but we said this, is that not valid anymore? And we can also hold each other accountable on the things that we've agreed upon. Right. So that was a little bit about the benevolent intent. So the next thing that I wanted to explore with you is about this of the leadership of the group. The group is well led. People don't work for organizations because they want to. They work for bosses because they want to. And this is the area where Care and Growth came from originally. So it's been a lot of work and research and discussions about this. So this comes from 30 years of experience, the kind of boss people work for because they want to. So I said 30 years of experience, but this actual example is from a course just a couple of months ago. So if we tell people that they can take a big trolley and go into the boss warehouse and put everything into that trolley, what they want their super duper want-to boss to have. This is a typical list of what people would say. Clarity of vision, right intention, transparent, trustworthy, etc., etc. And looking at this list, we will see that there are actually synonyms in it. We can group words, and we can do it so far as to group it into 2 categories. The first category would have a softer ring to it. Trustworthy, supports me, listens, available, sincere, you see, authentic. And these have to do with care, the care part. There is also the harder ring to the other words you see here. Clarity of vision, trust, feedback. I mean, getting feedback is not always nice. And so what we always say is that this is not about being nice, it's about being appropriate. And sometimes the care is needed, and sometimes the harder part is needed, which is then the growth. Because it's when we challenge and call upon each other that we can help each other grow. Important to understand and remember, though, is that it's the care that is the basis. We need to actually genuinely care about each other to be able to hold each other accountable and call upon each other. So that is the base. So this care and growth, that is what gives legitimate power. And what do we mean by legitimate power then? Well, it means that I entrust you to tell me what to do. I allow you to tell me what to do. And for that to be legitimate, I have to know and feel that you're there for me. You're there to care for me and to help me grow. So care and growth in the hierarchy, the leadership. If we have here a picture with a team to the very right there, with that person symbolizing the team, and we have the Scrum Master or team leader, and then up the hierarchy we have a first line manager and a second line manager, and that can of course go on from there. We see that the second line manager there keeps an eye on the result. That's good. But we don't want him to confuse his job with actually producing the result, because it's the team or the workers, the team that produce the result. The job of the second line manager is this care and growth of the first line manager. And the job of the first line manager is actually care and growth of this Scrum Master or team lead, however organization look. And the job of the Scrum Master or team lead is care and growth of the team. And the team's job is to do the tasks that actually produce the result. Okay, great. So the leader's job is care and growth of the team, of the people that report to them rather. And in the team context then, the leader's job is to help teams succeed. In a successful team, the individuals set each other up to succeed, and a good coach or leader does not set up the players compete. He or she sets them up to collaborate. And we have the soccer team here, quite small soccer team, to symbolize this. Because in a soccer team, if everyone just tries to score, and if their coach or leader tells them that I will be especially pleased with those of you who score, that is the real job here, then we won't have a team, we'll have a herd of cats, because they will compete with each other, because everyone will want to do the actual scoring. But 90% or 95% perhaps even of the job on that play, on that ground, is actually done helping setting up each other so that then one of the players can score in this game. So collaboration is key. Therefore, I often get quite sad when I see competition to be used for motivation. Anyway, a good coach does not set up the players to compete, he or she sets them up to collaborate. So collaboration over competition, that is key. And I had a discussion with a group that I was working with the other week about collaboration or competition. And this is what they came up with. What can set the team members up to compete within the team, or what can set the team members up to collaborate? And You can see here it's about the I instead of the we. It's about these individual rewards and benefits. And on the other hand, collaboration is when the whole team gets credit for team efforts. You help and lift each other, trust in the team. All of these things help setting up the team to collaborate. I then got a question from this group who came up with these suggestions. He said he didn't quite buy it that competition is not good. And he said, why? Why is competition not good? But what we actually landed in is that competition, there's nothing wrong with competition. We do have a competitive market. We want to have a competitive market, but we want that competitive feel to be against our competitors, not within the team. It's the competitiveness within the team that can be harmful. Let's not confuse competition within the team with holding each other accountable, though, because that's a different thing, and that we will come to next. So the third thing is about a culture of good citizenship in the group. So remember this picture now. We said that it's the job of the leader of each level to care for and grow their subordinates on the next level. And we said it's the team's job to do the tasks that produce the result. The teams that we talk about here, Scrum teams or other strong, well-educated teams, self-organized perhaps, autonomous, there's a lot that we can actually get from the teams themselves as well. So if we take this this man here, this is not a very diverse team. You can see they all look the same. If we have this team of workers here, they actually should care for and help each other to grow. So care and growth is not only applicable in a hierarchy, it's also applicable within the team. So the growth part here has to do with holding each other accountable, because we say we want a team where everyone sets each other up and the whole team gets cred. But remember, we do have individual interactions within the team. We do have a team where someone has said, yes, I take on this task. And that person should do that task or tell if it is too difficult. And if he or she doesn't do the task that they promised, but just sort of leave it or go for a holiday, I've actually had that in a team I led. Someone had taken on something and then left for a holiday. Then the others, they should be upset. They should hold this person accountable. So again, it's not all about being nice, you know, sitting on cushions and holding hands. This is about caring for each other. Absolutely. If someone is not there for the morning stand-up and they haven't said they shouldn't be there, we wonder where this person is. If someone looks a bit down or has a headache, I mean, we care about each other. And the way to get there is to get to know each other. But we also call out on each other and hold each other accountable within the team. And this, I think, is an important key, not just to leave something that doesn't work or leave it up to management to handle, but actually within a strong team to help each other grow. So if we go back to this picture, the want-to boss and the care and growth part here, the kind of boss people work for because they want to, we could also say the kind of teammate people work with because they want to. Because we want teammates that care for us and help us grow. And that then actually means that we give each other power within the team. So I talked about Team Giraffe before. That's one of the two high-performing teams that I feel I've worked in. And there we definitely gave each other power. We trusted each other to make decisions on our behalf when we were not there, and also, you know, to take on tough feedback and all that, because we knew that we care about each other and wanted to help each other grow. Right. So that was the main content I wanted to present to you. In short, of course, that teams succeed when members of the team set each other up to succeed. That is the key. And that we have keys to this then. With a benevolent intent, we know why we're here. We have a good leadership of the group. And we also have a culture of good citizenship within the group. We want each other to succeed. So to conclude, this intent to give or serve, even though we say that what is closest to this is the personal excellence, this is true, but it is also valid on a team level to be there to give and serve customers, but also each other. Because giving is not always about being nice. It's about also being hard when that is needed. And leadership with a legitimate power, which we could then show is also actually relevant in the team context between teammates in these strong self-organizing teams. And on this organizational level, where we see that an organization or enterprise or business needs to be there for something bigger than itself. And that benevolent intent, showing how we actually make a contribution to the world, then ripples down, needs to ripple down all the way down to team level. So what we do, what we serve to do is to help individuals achieve a fundamental sense of security and fulfillment in their lives. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is then by realizing or helping people realize that we go to work to feel secure and fulfilled, but actually the security and fulfillment comes from within. We bring it to work. If we try to get it from the world, we won't. We will continue chasing it. And on the team level, again, setting each other up to succeed. And on the leadership level, to empower the people by caring growth and therefore getting this legitimate power. And on the organizational level, to help organizations establish why they are here and how they actually make a contribution to the world. Since this will help the penny drop and actually get the organization to become excellent. And we talk a lot about these webinars and courses right now. And it's because it's an easy way to sort of establish contact. But actually, we do a lot more. We do quite a bit of diagnosis, which is surveys that can help establishing where are we right now in this organization or with this team to find the right way forward. And we consult, train, and also coach. It's great to coach on the care and growth content. It gives a really good basis for discussion. And we have some upcoming events, and I'd like to push for them. You know, online means it's possible to have them global. So we have the next webinar would be a care and growth overview that is sort of showing the whole content. That's in January. Then we have a number of open programs in our calendar. I put the one nearest in future here. You see there's a leadership excellence program in February. There's actually a team excellence program, an open program with 5 modules in January, where we will then explore these things deeper. And a personal excellence program online in February, and in March there is one in South Africa. which for the Swedish listeners actually turns out not to be so expensive. It sounds very exotic and big to go to South Africa, but we've asked us for a quote if you're interested. We also have a 50% spouse off, what is it called, rabatt, that you get 50% off for your spouse, because it's really good to do these things together with your husband or wife or partner, because you actually grow quite a bit in those 5 days. It's good to do it together. Then on demand, we work with agile excellence, as I mentioned, organizational excellence, and coaching, consulting, and diagnostics in all these areas.